So much extra fabric here. All right, so I'm fresh out of the tub. No hygiene liner on this. It keeps trying to roll up on me and I just don't feel like very lifted or shaped. What is going on with this? Hello and welcome to a swimwear review in November. Luckily I live somewhere warm, so this doesn't seem too crazy, but this still feels strange to me as someone who also rarely goes swimming and definitely wouldn't go swimming at this time of year. Today we are reviewing Toluca Swim. This is the brand child of Whitney Simmons, Gymshark athlete extraordinaire, and Taylor and Chloe Chamberlain, and I guess Steve, who own and operate Balance Athletica. To me, this all feels a little more balanced than Whitney. Haven't seen her really post much about Toluca since the launch. Also, since everything shipped out so far after the launch, I feel like no one's really thought about Toluca in a while, so it seems strange, but here we go. I feel like there are a couple things I want to touch on, talk about before we get into the review. So first of all, subscribe if you're new here. Second of all, give this video a thumbs up, and I will put on the screen the time where I actually start reviewing the pieces if you just want to skip to that and aren't interested in any tea time with Kath. Okay, before I actually sit down and film this review, first of all, here's Peach. Second of all, I heard that they didn't include hygiene liners because like there was some issue with them. Originally, they said like you couldn't return it if you didn't have the hygiene liners still on. So I'm just gonna check and see. I have not opened like the bottoms yet. So this is one of the bottoms and no hygiene liner on this. That's really strange. I have not seen a swimwear company not have hygiene liners in quite some time. And they did say you had to have a hygiene liner to return it. I don't know. I guess we might be keeping these because I'm not gonna wear underwear under these to review it, which is great since I probably won't be making any money off this video since it'll get demonetized because, you know, female bodies. All right, so first of all, the thing that everyone got upset about, the prices. The prices really got me because the tops were like $70 and the bottoms were like $65 and the one piece was $115. And if you're unfamiliar with my channel, I'm kind of like more on the like budget side of things. I don't like spending a lot of money on clothing, like really expensive stuff, especially swimwear. As someone who really doesn't like swim very much, I would never spend this much on a swimsuit. I'm going to review all of this stuff, like prices set aside, like that's not really going to be in my mind, so don't worry about that. But personally, even if I like this stuff, it's still not going to be worth it to me because that is just too much for a girl to spend on a swimsuit. I'll probably wear it twice. And of course, there's always devil's advocates out there saying like, well, it's not any more expensive than like 437 Swim, which is another really popular swimwear brand that's like popular in the activewear community. But 437 is also too expensive for me. And it's expensive for a lot of other people too. You're just excluding a big range of people who just don't have the money or just really can't spend the money on swimwear. And as like an influencer myself, I would personally feel bad putting out a product that is so expensive, knowing that it's excluding so many of my followers from buying it, because the whole reason that influencers have their platform is because of their audience. So personally, like I'm not saying I have any plans to come out with anything, so don't get excited. Personally, I wouldn't come out with something so expensive that people would either have to like do Afterpay to buy, which I think Afterpay is kind of awful because basically you're going into debt to buy clothing, or just couldn't buy it all. I would just feel bad. And clearly a lot of people couldn't buy this stuff because their website is almost fully stocked still, which is kind of unheard of for having Whitney Simmons' name on it, especially since the Whitney Simmons Gymshark launch just happened. And let me tell you, there was stock gone in 2 minutes. To advertise inclusivity and then to have all of the influencers they sent this stuff to say that they've never felt more confident in a swimsuit and that they've literally never had a swimsuit that they felt confident until this one, and then to make it so expensive just kind of makes people feel like, well, I can't afford this, so can I ever be confident in a swimsuit since you told me you've never been confident in any other swimsuit? Also, there were a couple posts where they talked about like revolutionizing like the swimwear industry, when first of all, like it's animal prints that they even mentioned they recycled the prints from Balance, so the prints are unique. And there have been swimwear brands around for years advertising like body positivity and size inclusivity, like Aerie. I think even 437 is pretty good about that, so I just don't really understand like what they're revolutionizing if it's kind of all been done before. I don't know, I didn't look at it and say this is the most unique swimsuit I've ever seen. That's worth over $100. Speaking of Aerie swimsuits, I couldn't pass up the opportunity to do a little dupe comparison today. So I also got a snakeskin swimsuit from Aerie that looks very similar to the Toluca one. Literally, I think this was like $40 total for this instead of like $140. It wouldn't be one of my videos without some dupes, so I got you guys. Oh, and look at this, it has a hygiene liner. So yeah, there are definitely dupes out there from Aerie. I've seen one from Zaful that looks like very similar to some. And I was also seeing a lot of people talking about how all of these swimsuits look very similar to a brand called Montsea Swim, which is actually more expensive than Toluca. The designs look like very similar. It's all swimwear. There's only so many designs you can get, but how's it going? Show them how beautiful your eyes are. Such a pretty boy. So another problem I had was, I know on the website it said that it would take 1 to 2 weeks to ship out the orders. But to me, it never said it was a pre-order or anything. So I thought they were just expecting high volume of orders and that it would take them 1 to 2 weeks to get everyone's orders out there. That's how I saw it. But really it was, they didn't even have the product in the warehouse until 1 to 2 weeks after they sold the product, which to me just like never seems like a good idea to sell product when you don't physically have it. Like you don't know what's gonna get ruined. You don't know like how it's gonna be. And I also heard them say that it was not a pre-order, and selling a product before you have it is literally the definition of a pre-order. Yeah, this was a pre-order. I bought it and you didn't even have the product and you sent it out 2 weeks later. I pre-ordered it. Also, apparently the hygiene liners were too sticky, so they didn't end up putting them in anything. And I feel like that actually could have been avoided if they had gotten the product before and made sure everything was okay and maybe delayed the launch to not launch them without hygiene liners. I don't know, that's all I have to say. Without further ado, let's start reviewing stuff. I do just want to say this review is going to be 100% honest. I give everything I review an equal opportunity to either impress me or disappoint me, and I really never hold back with my thoughts. I also bought all of this with my own money, and I am not affiliated with Whitney and definitely not Balance. First, I'm going to start with the Ophelia top in the color Reptilia. I believe this is the only color that actually sold out. So this top was $70, which is quite a bit of money, and I just opened it and I'm already surprised that I thought that there would be like some pads in the swimsuit. It's been a long time since I've had a swimsuit that didn't have like any cut pads or anything in it. And I know I talk negatively about cut pads a lot, but I do feel like this is very thin and may, I don't know, show some like nippage if you get wet and cold and everything. Am I gonna water test this stuff? I might water test this stuff for you guys. So I got this one in a size medium. I'm usually a small in basically all tops and bottoms, all swimwear stuff, but I just thought since this one looked like semi-adjustable, maybe I'll try a medium, give a little more space for the girls. So this was definitely my favorite print. It's kind of that little like snakeskin print. And basically it's just like a simple triangle swimsuit, and I call these the boob curtains. It has a little double band here, and the straps in the back are adjustable, which I think is nice. And then it has a metal clasp in the back. I will say I was kind of expecting maybe like a thicker, kind of more luxurious feeling swimsuit material. This isn't bad by any means, but I really don't think it's like all that much better than the Aerie one that I have. That's like the dupe version. The print does look a little nicer than the Aerie version. So let's do some up close details. So here is the little snake print. These are the little boob curtain things. The inside is just like a cream white lining. I would have kind of expected them to have the print on both sides of the swimsuit, because if this ever peels over, you can see the inside lining. Oh, and this part is adjustable. I need to do this some other way. All right, so here we are. I kind of expected this one to be a little small on me, so I just thought I would have like a little more coverage with this, but this is definitely like a skimpy little top. Not necessarily recommending this for my girls with the larger girls. So first of all, I want to say this took me like so long to get on because I kept trying to adjust the straps, and the straps are like so stiff. They do not want to adjust. They just want to stay wherever they are. So that was really annoying. I seriously thought I was gonna like rip the straps trying to adjust them. I will say I do think this is a very flattering color and print. Like this was definitely my favorite print they came out with, and I appreciate the effort that they have going on with the back. The double straps are cute, kind of opportunity to like squeeze you in, but I don't really care, it's a swimsuit. Adjustable spaghetti straps, adjustable. And then they have 3 little options for this like back clasp thing. So this is a size medium, and I think it actually fits me like pretty well. I put it on the tightest clasp, but it's definitely not too big for me. So for this top, I think you could probably play around with the sizing, potentially go up. I feel like if there was a cup pad in this, there'd be 0 chance of me getting any boob actually sitting in here. As you can see, I'm just kind of like spilling out the side here, like it kind of cuts in and then spills out. Then we also have a good amount of side boob. So this is not enough coverage for me for a swimsuit. I kind of hated the little boob curtain things at first. I think they're okay. I may be potentially growing to like them. When this is on, it actually feels pretty soft, pretty lightweight. I just would say if you have like a larger natural chest, your girls kind of, you know, they need a little support, and I just don't feel like very lifted or shaped. I feel like they're kind of like falling down a little bit, falling out. So this is definitely not my top pick. I'm just not a fan of this top personally. So here's the print comparison between the Toluca and the Aerie. First of all, the Aerie ones also have cut pads in them. The Toluca ones don't. You're also definitely getting more like boob space on the Aerie ones. Like there's just more coverage here. There's not as much on the Toluca one, so I would say this is more for like a smaller cup size, or if you want it a little bit skimpier. I think the fabrics feel very similar. I would say the Toluca print looks a little nicer, a little sharper in the details, but the Aerie one, it looks like a little more printed on from afar. No one's really going to see that, but if you're really paying attention to the details and that's important to you, I think the Toluca print's a little nicer. I also prefer the kind of more tan beigey vibes of this to the like almost olivey tone of this. That's just personal preference. And I think the fabrics feel pretty similar, honestly. I'm not noticing a huge difference. They both almost have like a little sheen to them, a little shininess because it's like a swim material, you know. The Toluca one maybe feels a little bit more like finely like knit, if that makes sense, but I wouldn't say the Aerie one is bad by any means. To go with those, I got the Luna midi bottoms. These are in a size small, and basically all of the bottoms, I think all of them except for the mini bottoms, are all like a high waist, and they are all definitely high cut leg line. I will say it would be nice if they did maybe like one lower cut leg line, but personally I'm all for the high cut leg line. I think it's really flattering, especially since I have a long torso, and when I don't have a high cut leg line, it can just make my legs look really short. So I actually am here for the high cut leg line. I actually really thought that the material was gonna like blow me away and that these were gonna be like really awesome, but like so far I'm just like not impressed. I don't want to say too much because I haven't actually tried them on yet, but something Whitney said that was super important to her was that she wanted to have like a lot of coverage for the lips. And looking at the swimsuit, this part actually does look pretty thick along that region. Usually swimsuits are a little more tapered. Like we can already see side by side, this is the Aerie one, this is the Toluca one. It definitely does have more coverage of that area. So they certainly weren't lying with that. So that's awesome. There's really no details with these bottoms. There isn't like any extra lining on the crotch area. So let's just try them on. And now for the bottoms. I feel like we have some pros and cons. I do like where this comes up on me. I would say that this is definitely a mid-rise, but I do like how I have a lot of leg line here and it sits at a nice place on my hips. This is a small, which is kind of my normal legging bottom size, and I do think I am being like cut into a little bit. Like the seams at the side are a little bit thick and you can definitely feel them, and I'm definitely getting like some cutting in. I also think that this little area where the seams are connecting is kind of like oddly bulky. Would have liked if that sit a little flatter. As for the front part, I do think they kept their promises. I feel very covered, and I definitely don't have any chances of losing a lip, if you know what I mean. And then we go to the back, and these are definitely on the cheeky side. I will just say it keeps trying to roll up on me, and because they didn't make the inside of the swimsuit printed, you can just like see the white lining, and I just don't think that looks really good. Like I've adjusted this a couple times and it keeps wanting to like pop up and show the inside color. So I don't love that. I wish it sat a little better. I think in terms of coverage, I would say this is like a medium to low coverage. I do like the amount of coverage on this. I think it's flattering because you kind of got the high leg line over here, but then you do still have coverage in the front. Like this is definitely not like thong level, so I do appreciate that. It goes up a little higher in the back as well. And yeah, that's it for the bottom. I do like some things about it, but it just keeps rolling up on me and it's kind of annoying. So for the sake of being thorough, because this video is already far too long, we're gonna do a water test. This one just feels kind of thin to me, so we're just gonna test this one, see how it holds up, and we'll be testing it in my bathtub because I do not have a pool. This is me taking one for the team. All right, so I'm fresh out of the tub. I'm kind of cold. So these are a print, so I feel like there's not too much to see. I'd actually say these seem to be holding up pretty well. They don't look sheer at all. And there's definitely some nippage going on because I'm like, you know, cold, but because of the print, you can't really like see it. And yeah, I think it looks like it's actually holding up pretty well. It doesn't look sheer. So I don't know, but I think that these pass the water test. I actually think that this is pretty reasonable for a swimsuit to look after being wet. It's also not like sagging or anything after the water. It is making that like water sound, but I think it's totally fine. So, all right. Next, I got the Angelina top in Felis. This was the top I was most excited about because I thought this top looked like it would have a little more space for the girls. I did get a small in this one since it did seem more bra shaped, and I knew if I got a medium it'd probably be too big. This is the shade Leopardus, leopard basically. It does have just like straight up and down straps with a very tiny adjustable area. It's not much, but it's something. Little frilly sleeve things, and this one actually does have cups in it, and actually the cups do seem like they fit pretty well in the shape of the bra. bra. So that does seem very thought out because they didn't just stick like circle ones in here. It's actually shaped like the little like boob area. It has a little drawstring thing that you can actually tie, and it actually like moves and I guess tightens up this part. Little frill along the front as well. And yeah, I'm worried about the underwire just sitting correctly. I've never quite understood the concept of selling underwired things in size like small through large kind of thing, because as a girl with like a larger cup size, I just don't see this fitting A to like triple D. Like I just don't see how that's gonna be possible, but we're gonna try. I will also say that with these frills, they really should have put the print on both sides. There's definitely a possibility of seeing just like the blank fabric color instead of like the actual print. All right, so if you have around a C cup chest, I feel like this would be great for you. I'm simultaneously impressed and disappointed with this top. I really thought the underwire would not sit comfortably on me at all, but it's actually sitting pretty well, which I'm impressed with. And I think part of it is the shape of the cups. I just think they did a really good job with like the cup shape. I thought I would have to take the cups out in order for this to actually like fit me in any sort of way. It feels like a demi cup bra that just covers like half of the girls and then like leaves the other half like out, which is totally fine. I actually think it's like pretty cute. It's like kind of giving me a little bit of a like push-up vibe, even though it doesn't have like actual push-up like padding or anything. This little tie thing actually is really helpful because when I loosened it, I don't know, like they were kind of falling apart a little bit, but when you tighten it, you can actually like pull the girls together a little bit. It actually does something. I didn't think this little tie would actually be like functional in any way. The straps are a little tight on me. There is a little bit of room to adjust them, but really just like an inch or two, I could probably do that and it would help a little bit. I have it on the loosest one in the back. As you can see, it is kind of like pulling up my back a little bit. It should be sitting farther down, but after trying to mess with the straps of the last one, I don't really want to deal with it again. The straps are just really hard to adjust. I would say it's also like pretty comfortable. I don't feel like the underwire is cutting into me, but I'm also someone who likes regular underwired bras. I know, I'm crazy, but I actually like underwired bras and find them comfortable. So this actually isn't too uncomfortable on me. And I would say it's actually pretty good for the larger cup sizes. If you have like a double AA cup, I feel like it might have like a little bit too much room for you. But if you have like double D plus, it might be a little bit of spillage. Like I do feel like I am being pushed out and spilled out a teeny bit. I had to get the Gia Maxi bottoms because a lot of their stuff looked very cheeky in the back, and these are supposed to be their full coverage bottoms. So we're gonna actually see if they are full coverage, because to call something maxi, like I'm not sure these are really a maxi, but we'll see. I do also prefer to be a little more on the cheeky side. I think it's a little more flattering on me personally, but not everyone wants like their cheeks hanging out everywhere they go, you know? So you kind of have like a little waistband situation. It's all very thin. There's not like anything that's actually gonna provide any like compression up here. Again, it is decently wide in the bottom region, so should have a little more coverage of, you know, that area. The back definitely looks like more full coverage than the midi one we already tried on. I kind of wasn't expecting like a booty scrunch down the middle, so I'm interested to see like how defined this booty scrunch is gonna be. Like, is it really gonna be like sucking everything up your butt and then that'll take away from all the coverage basically, or what it's gonna do? So let's try this on. So these are the maxi bottoms. So like, I don't know, this doesn't look full coverage to me. We'll talk about that in a minute. First of all, this one does have a little more coverage on the side of the leg, so it's not gonna give you as much of an elongated leg, but it does sit higher on my hips than like most other swimwear. So I'd say it's still more of a long leg enhancing swimsuit. So they have this double lined thing on the top here. It is definitely higher rise than the midi swimsuit I just tried on. This is simultaneously like a teeny bit big for me. I almost thought that like if you're gonna have like a maxi version of the swimsuit, maybe almost have like even a little waist compression. Like I feel like that might have been nice. I know these aren't leggings, but it just feels like a little bit loose. And this part is double lined. There is print on this part, but on the bottom part, it is just a tan lining. And this top part just feels really thin. I just had Ian like look at it and he just like said that it just like feels cheap. Like it just feels like a shiny material. It's super thin and it just doesn't scream like $60 bottoms to me. There is totally good front coverage on this one. I haven't had a moment where I'm like, ooh, you know, should I gotten a bikini wax, you know? Like I feel like they all have had pretty good coverage so far. But then you get to the back and I just don't think the booty scrunch is not really my favorite. It does help with a little less of that like, you know, diaper butt appearance, but because it has the scrunch, it kind of sucks in the material into the middle. I feel like these are just as cheeky as the last ones. I kind of had a feeling these wouldn't be super full coverage, but I do think that they should make something having just a little more full coverage, because some people want to wear swimsuits around their families, you know, and they don't want to have like their cheeks all the way out. Again, it's nowhere near thong or anything, but a good amount of my booty is out. And lastly, I will say, this is a little big, and I also have cutting in all the way around like the hips. Like you can see, I'm getting cut in a little bit here. I'm getting an ever so slight amount of like bulging of the booty area. So that's it for the maxi bottoms. Don't really think these are maxi, but at least they're a higher waist. The snakeskin Aerie bottoms are just very similar to the maxi bottoms. I'd say almost similar amount of coverage, similar little like waistband type thing. The fabrics of these ones feel very similar. I'd say that the Felis print doesn't feel quite as nice as the Reptilia print, both Toluca. These ones feel very similar though, very similar in weight as well. Like this one doesn't feel like it has more heaviness to it. The seams may be a little nicer on Toluca. I don't really know how you declare nice, but you can see the stitching on the Aerie ones, but it didn't like fold over for me. So even though these were lined with white, it wasn't a big deal because mine weren't folding over. And just like Balance, they send a little sticker. I'm sorry guys, but this just seems like a Balance brand to me. It literally is sent from Balance. Every influencer who got this was associated with Balance basically. It just seems like Balance. Okay, and then we got the $115 Artemis one piece. And let me tell you, this one, I knew I had to try this because not a single person who tried this on ever turned around to show me what it looked like in the back. Because when you have a leg line that looks this freaking high, it's gonna be right up your butt. It's just gonna be there. And no one would turn around and show their butt. And I'm like, listen, I know it's probably too much butt, but if you're gonna provide a review, you gotta take one for the team sometimes. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. We will finally see what the back of the swimsuit looks like. So this one actually feels a little thicker and a little nicer than the other ones. I wonder if it's maybe like double lined or just a little thicker. Oh, what? What is going on with this? Okay, it looks like they like took off the hygiene liner and it like sticks to itself now. And now I have like a sticky residue on the inside. Yeah, I can literally see little pieces of the old hygiene liner in the stickiness on it. Anyways, this one does feel a little thicker than the others. I don't know if it's because of this white color. They were worried about it being sheer or something, but this fabric feels a little better to me. Could just be a total coincidence, but you have this like built-in belt situation. I'm not huge into like belted styles, but basically it has like the little like tortoise shell kind of like ring here, simple up and down straps. They didn't have a lot of like halters or anything, kind of interesting, but I'm personally not a big fan of halters anyway. Scooped back, and I think I got a small in this. Yeah, I got a small in this, and they originally said that they were going to have versions for longer torsos in this swimsuit, and your girl has a long torso. So I was excited about that. And then I realized they only had one color that came in the long torso. On the website, the Panthera color, the like Black Panther, is the only one that was made for a long torso. I feel like every color should have come with a long torso version because that's essentially telling me that as a long torso, I'm probably only gonna fit into the one that's like black. But of course I didn't know that before, so I kind of thought they all were available for a long torso, so I just got this one, not really knowing. So we're trying the regular torso length and we're gonna see how that works for me. There's a V in the front, and something I will give them major props to that I do not see in like any one-piece swimsuits is they actually have a built-in shelf bra with cups and an elastic underneath. This reminds me of leotards I used to wear for dance growing up because I could never get the ones that like didn't have any built-in bra in them because your girl has some girls. And I would always look for the leotards with the shelf bra. And because I was so spoiled with like all these leotards having them, I was kind of surprised when you go into the world of one-piece swimsuits and not a lot of them have these. So I was super excited. I think that this is definitely inclusive to larger cups and will give a little more of a lift. So definitely excited about that. I understand why no one turned around in this swimsuit now because it's literally butt floss. Like, seriously? What the heck? This isn't even flattering. Oh my god, it's like super loose here and it just is going straight up my butt. Like it's gonna be there and then I'm gonna move. It's right up the butt again. You're kidding. So before we talk about the back anymore, let's talk about the front for a second. So I like the nice thick straps, and I stand by that like this material feels much more luxurious than the like two-piece material. Like the bottoms just don't feel nice. This one actually does feel nice. So yeah, we have the nice thick tank straps. And I will say, this has been one of the most supportive one pieces for the girls that I've ever tried on. Like I really do feel very supported, and I can tell there's an elastic in there. I don't feel like I'm solely like surviving on compression. Like I do feel a little bit of lift. I just feel covered and secure in the top. So I don't feel like I'd be losing anyone at the side. There is a tiny bit of side boob, but I don't think it's too much. I would say that this is like pretty full coverage as for a top. You will get a little bit of cleavage. I could probably, you know, pull the girls out to make a little more cleavage, but why bother? And then we have this belt, which I think sits a little high on me. And I would just like to say, guys, this side cut goes literally to my natural waist. This is the narrowest part of my waist. My belly button is here. It goes higher than my belly button. Higher than my belly button. Like, what? So, I mean, your legs will look 10 times longer than they really are. And so onto like this part, you are getting more coverage like of this region just because it is thicker, but it's just like a little uncomfortable because it's kind of thick. It kind of folds on the sides because it's being pulled up so much. Part of this might be due to my torso length. I do understand, so keep that in mind. I just feel like the Borat swimsuit, guys. I just feel like it. I feel like from the front, you can be like, okay, like this is a cute swimsuit. She's looking good. And then you get to the back and you're like, whoa, what the heck? This is a small, and every time I pull this down, it goes right up my butt. Like you move a little bit, like it's already right up. I just have so much extra fabric here. This is like a big pet peeve of mine, and I could not size down to an extra small. So I don't think that's a sizing thing. That is just an issue with the one piece. Like you can see it here again, and literally it keeps sliding up. So this is probably my least favorite thing I've tried on, unfortunately, because I really liked the top part, but they just need to lower these legs or something. Like, there's such a thing as too high of a swimsuit, and I feel like I'm not even wearing any bottoms. I would not feel comfortable in like any situation in this swimsuit. Haven't talked about like the scooping back yet. Got nice like scoop strap details. Yeah, that's all I got to say. The belt is just okay for me. I think we know how I feel about this one, so. All right, so this is the Aerie version, and honestly, it is really similar. It's literally a fraction of the price. Aerie is also ethically made and supports body positivity, so you can't make a lot of arguments to me. A similar shape, except this one is less adjustable. It is just like two kind of like triangle situations, but they are straight up and down straps, and you do just like tie the back. I am getting a little bit of spillage here too, but I was in the Toluca one, so I'll just say pretty similar. And this one also has cut pads, so I do like that. If I took them out, I'd probably have a little more room for the girls, but yeah, this is cute. And the bottoms, I'd say these are kind of similar to the maxi bottoms. It's definitely a higher waist than the midi Toluca bottoms. You also aren't getting a ton of compression out of this region, but it is a high waist, goes up to my belly button. I still am getting a high leg line. I believe I got a small in both of these, and I'd say pretty true to size. I'm totally covered in the front too. Like I am not worrying about losing anyone in this region, so, and a solid like medium low coverage like the Toluca ones as well. And I would say it's like, you know, just as flattering on the glutes. So I was expecting to be kind of like blown out of the water from the Toluca suits just because I've never owned such an expensive swimsuit, so I expected there to be a big step up in quality between something like a $20 top and a $70 top, and I just really didn't feel that. If I truly loved these suits, I kind of expected to actually really like them. I just can't say I'm like totally crazy about these. I think there are definite improvements to be made. I just thought of this. They have like that silicone lining on their bandeau style tops. They should have put that on the one piece on like the butt area so it doesn't slide up your butt, because that was really annoying. Okay guys, so that is it for the review. I definitely think there were some hits and misses. A lot of this will come up to personal preference. I don't think any of the swimsuits were bad. I think that is like far from what I'm saying. Personally, the quality difference just wasn't enough for me to want to spend this much on a swimsuit. But if you are into the specific styles of these, you have the money to spend, you maybe want to support the girls of Balance and Whitney, then go for it. But if you were kind of in between on these and you weren't sure if going for the expensive suit was going to be worth it, personally, I don't think the quality really impressed me so much. Like, they were cute styles. I just don't think I was like, whoa, you know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!